So if you could fish with anyone, dead or alive, who might that be?
I'd love to fish with my grandfather. Ooh, wow, there's a good one. I'd love to fish with my grandfather again. He was the one that taught me kind of how to fish between him and my dad. And passed away years ago, and it was actually during the Christmas. But you know, he taught me about the outdoors, and he didn't have a lot of techniques. All he did was throw a devil horse and a blue Rapala, but he was very patient with me and my two brothers, and taught us, you know, golly, these fish are in here. But it'd be my grandfather for sure.
Hey, speaking of family, do you think it's a help or a hindrance to be fishing against family in a tournament?
Oh, I love it. I'm all about the competition, man. I don't care if it's my son, you know, we're gonna go at it one way or the other. I mean, you don't come into this sport making friends with everybody. I mean, you know, my brother's my brother, and he's blood and tried and true, and we'll, you know, we'll always be brothers. But it comes down to, you know, he's gonna feed his family like I gotta feed mine. I spent my money just like he did, so it's cool having him on tour for sure. You know, when you suck, it gives somebody to talk to, but when the money's on the line, I'm after everybody.
So in all the years of working hard to become a better angler and learning all kinds of new things, have you learned anything that you've been able to apply to your life outside of bass fishing?
Yeah, you know, there's this sport, it definitely humbles you, which I think is a awesome trait to have. And you take that when you have a bad tournament and people think you should do good, it humbles you, and you can take that through life when, you know, people think you're great at everything, you know, good at doing something, and you're not so good at it. It makes it a little easier to adapt to. This also builds tremendous patience. You know, waiting for that one bite or waiting for that fifth fish or stuff like that. And, you know, when your kids get wound up and want to know what's going on all the time, or screaming and yelling, it's just one of them days you can kind of take you sitting on a ledge or slow rolling a jig or a swim bait out there in open water somewhere and begging for a bite. You know, that requires a lot of patience. You can kind of take that back to your home also and say, wow, I'm glad I can handle this. You know, you can handle it better than what you used to be able to handle it, basically. And all kinds of little things like that, you know, diligence and ooh, there was a fish on the spinnerbait. Responsibility and.
Okay, Bobby, so tell me about JJ's Magic.
JJ's Magic, that is probably the best dye to use on a bait. I mean, one of my favorites, of course, is chartreuse. I just think if I ever use any, that's the one I like to use. And it has a different smell to it than any other dye. Well, number one, the whole JJ's Magic group is a heck of a nice group of people to work with. They're easy to work with. They're always there for you. You know, even when you don't need anything or do bad, they're still there to root you on, as opposed to most sponsors. But you know, I just catch more fish when I got a little JJ's Magic on my baits. Doesn't matter if it's a spinner bait, a jig, a flipping bait, a worm, anything. JJ's magic just goes a long way with bass.
So what would you say is your favorite lake or river?
Gunnersville.
Why is that?
It's just loaded with grass. I mean, my absolute favorite grass lake is Potomac. It just has a tide like this place, and I love tidal water. When you figure out the tide, you figure out the bass, and there's a little period in them every single day that those big ones turn on. And when you can figure that out in the grass, it's a win-win situation. I mean, you might not win every tournament, but you definitely have a shot at it. And guys seem to struggle a little more on tidal water just because they're not so much worried about the tide. They like to just go out there and fish.
So what lures do you always have tied on?
Spinnerbait. Usually I got 3 or 4 different kinds of flipping sticks tied on, and I really like a big old 10-inch Berkeley power worm. That's just one of my favorite things to throw around. I mean, if I had it on in here, I'd probably catch some. Becoming more of a rattle trap fisherman. I love throwing them, and ever since the elites, it's just kind of wow. These fish you can catch them on so many different things, and you got to learn different times. We fish all times of the year, all different weather conditions, and I'd rather be ready than not ready. Oh, I hate throwing a rattle trap, or I hate throwing a spinnerbait or stuff like that. I'd rather be ready for these fish when they show up.
Are you partial to any colors or particular lure sizes?
Yeah, I'm simple. I like black blue, black red, green pumpkin candy. I get in that clear water like the Potomac. Gunnersville, I like green pumpkin candy, green pumpkin, watermelon candy when I'm in Florida, or places like this with a little stained water, black blue, black red. Stuff like that.
If they could bring back one old discontinued lure, what would you want that to be?
Oh boy. Probably some of them old paddle tail worms. They just started getting a few back out, but they're not quite right. But you can do so much with a paddle tail worm. You can cut the tail and use it like a swimming bait. You can flip it. You can cast it. You can do all kinds of things with it. It was just an all-around great worm to catch fish with, and not only the little ones, but you'd catch some big ones too.
What would you say is generally the first technique you use when you first hit the water?
That depends on time of year. If it's springtime, I'll hit the back of the pockets with some sort of a swimming frog or a buzz bait or something like that. If it's spawning, then I'll take out the old trusty flipping stick, go to work with that. If it's a Kentucky Lake deal, I'll pick up a crankbait and go hit the ledges. So I like to, there's not one bait that I pick up every time I go to a new lake. I'll mix it up a little bit depending on the time of the year and what lake it is.
Well, what's your favorite soft plastic bait?
Chigger crawl.
Well, being a Florida guy, what's your favorite Florida lake to fish?
Lake Kissimmee. Just grew up there, had a cabin there. It's where my grandfather raised us, kind of, and got more knowledge in that place than I probably do anywhere I know.
Well, what's your favorite time of year to fish that lake? And what would be your favorite technique to fish?
I love to sight fish, but just taking an old big 10-inch worm, throwing it around lily pads, early January to February.